The Galactic Council had always prided itself on thorough research. For 3 standard cycles, they had observed Earth from a distance, cataloging its inhabitants, their primitive wars, their curious inventions, and their bewildering social customs. The humans seemed harmless enough, soft-skinned bipeds with no natural armor, no venomous appendages, and frankly, pathetic sensory organs compared to most civilized species. Ambassador Zirkoth of the Kaldorian Empire had been chosen to lead the first contact mission. His crystalline exoskeleton gleamed under the ship's bioluminescent panels as he reviewed the cultural briefing one final time. The Kaldorians were known throughout the galaxy as the ultimate diplomats, capable of metabolizing nearly any substance without ill effect. Their legendary constitution had closed deals on 1,000 worlds, often over ceremonial drinks that would fell lesser species. "It's a ritual called breaking bread," his aide, Eslith, hissed through his translator implant. The reptilian officer's tongue flickered nervously. "Humans share food and drink to establish trust. Our xenobiologists assure us their fermented beverages are primitive, simple ethanol solutions, barely refined." Zirkoth's mandibles clicked with amusement. "We've drunk with the Thoraxians of Beta Crucis. We've matched the Void Dwellers shot for shot across the Maelstrom Nebula. These humans and their alcohol will be no challenge." The landing site was a place called Dublin, Ireland, coordinates provided by the humans themselves after detecting the Kaldorian survey vessels. The delegation descended on a gray afternoon, their shuttle touching down in a park surrounded by ancient buildings. Hundreds of humans had gathered, their faces flushed with excitement and something else Zirkoth couldn't quite identify. A red-haired human male stepped forward, hand extended in the greeting gesture they'd studied. "Welcome to Earth. I'm Seamus O'Brien, and we're honored to be your hosts. We've prepared a proper Irish welcome for ye." The translation matrix struggled, slightly with the accent, but Zirkoth grasped his hand. Surprisingly strong for such a fragile-looking appendage. "The honor is ours. We bring greetings from the Galactic Council and look forward to cultural exchange." Grand, Seamus beamed. "We've set up a reception at the pub just there. Nothing fancy, mind you, but we thought you'd like to experience authentic human hospitality." The pub O'Malley's, according to the weathered sign, was dim and warm inside, filled with wooden furniture and the overwhelming smell of fermentation. Zirkoth's analysis organs detected hundreds of complex organic compounds. Behind a long, wooden counter stood an elderly human female, her gray hair tied back, arms like coiled cables despite her age. "Right then," she announced in a voice that carried absolute authority. "I'm Mary O'Malley, and this is my establishment. You'll be starting with a pint of Guinness. It's traditional." A massive glass vessel materialized before each delegation member, filled with a dark liquid topped with pale foam. Zirkoth's scientific instruments measured the alcohol content at roughly 4.2%, laughably weak. He raised the glass in the traditional Kaldorian toast gesture. "To new friendships across the stars." The liquid was bitter, creamy, and surprisingly complex. Zirkoth drained the vessel in 3 efficient gulps, noting the mild warmth in his primary digestive chamber. Around him, his team did likewise. The gathered humans erupted in cheers and applause. "Ah, they can drink," Seamus declared. "Mary, bring out the whiskey." What followed was a blur that even Zirkoth's perfect memory struggled to reconstruct. The whiskey, a golden liquid that burned like plasma fire, came in smaller vessels but proved far more potent. His instruments registered 40% alcohol content, then 50%, then something called poitin that the sensors insisted was 90% pure ethanol. "This is a traditional Irish wake drink," an old human male explained, his face mapped with wrinkles and broken capillaries. "Though we also drink it at weddings, funerals, births, Tuesdays." Zirkoth felt his exoskeleton beginning to hum at an unusual frequency. His aide, Slythe, had somehow lost his translator implant and was attempting to sing something in phonetic Irish Gaelic. The humans seemed delighted, joining in with gusto. "Ye know what ye need?" Mary O'Malley leaned across the bar, her eyes twinkling with something between kindness and mischief. A proper Irish car bomb. The drink appeared to be 3 separate beverages combined in a violent, foaming reaction. Zierkoth's scientific training screamed warnings, but his diplomatic pride, and the 6 whiskeys already metabolizing in his system, overruled caution. He downed it. Reality began to wobble. "Now we're having a proper session," Seamus declared, producing bottles Zierkoth's spinning vision couldn't quite focus on. "This here's a bottle of Jameson my grandfather left me, aged 40 years. And this," he held up a murky jar with reverence. "This is moonshine from my cousin in the Wicklow Mountains. We don't ask questions about its origins." The Caldorian security officer, Throck, was attempting to teach a group of humans the traditional war dance of his people. It mostly involved falling over. The ship's navigator was crying into her 7th pint, explaining to a sympathetic bartender how she'd always wanted to be a poet. Zierkoth himself was engaged in an intense philosophical debate about the nature of consciousness with a human who claimed to be a plumber. "But don't you see," the plumber insisted, "if the pipes of reality are clogged with predetermined destiny, then free will is just us thinking we're choosing which way the shite flows." It was profound. It was meaningless. It was both simultaneously. Hours blurred into one another. Someone started playing a fiddle. Zierkoth found himself actually dancing, with Mary O'Malley, who moved with surprising grace despite her age. The humans sang songs about rebellion, lost loves, and drinking itself, each more melancholic and rousing than the last. "Your species," Zierkoth slurred, his translator struggling, "is terrifying." "Ah, you're just figuring that out?" Seamus laughed, refilling his glass with something amber and dangerous. "We've been poisoning ourselves for entertainment since we discovered fermentation, built civilizations on it, fought wars over it, made friends with it." He raised his glass. "Alcohol didn't make us tough, Ambassador. We were already mad enough to drink it for fun." The last thing Zierkoth remembered clearly was trying to send a priority message to the Galactic Council. His fingers, all 6 of them, refused to cooperate with the communicator interface. The message that eventually transmitted read, "Humans weaponized poison. Drinking it socially. Send help, or more diplomats. Situation unclear. Everything is music now." Ambassador Zierkoth woke 3 days later in what humans called a hotel room, his exoskeleton aching in ways he didn't know were possible. His team was scattered across the city, each with similar stories of spontaneous adoption into Irish, families, impromptu philosophy lessons, and an alarming number of new drinking songs memorized. The Galactic Council's response was swift. Send more ambassadors to retrieve the first team. Those ambassadors also disappeared into Ireland's pubs for a week. Then the retrieval team sent to find them. The pattern continued until the Council simply designated Earth as a Class 7 metabolic hazard zone and authorized the construction of a permanent embassy in Dublin, staffed on rotating shifts to prevent complete cultural absorption. Zierkoth, when he finally returned to Caldor, found himself strangely changed. He kept a bottle of Jameson in his office for diplomatic purposes, and occasionally, late at night, he'd pour a measure and raise it to the window facing Earth's distant star. "Slainte," he would whisper, using the Irish word he'd learned. It meant health, ironically enough, given what the drink did to one's constitution. The humans never joined the Galactic Council officially. They didn't need to. By the time the Galaxy's diplomats stopped trying to drink with them and started simply inviting them to negotiations, humanity had already achieved something far more effective than political membership. They'd made every species ambassadors afraid of their recreational beverages. And in the grand calculus of interstellar relations, that was more valuable than any fleet.